Hi everyone, Aiden here at etrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at the Saris MHS and we're going to see how it fits on the back of our 2017 Winnebago View Motorhome. The MHS is going to be a platform style bike rack capable of carrying up to 2 really heavy e-bikes. You've got an 80-pound capacity here, which is really impressive, especially since this is motorhome approved. And it's important to pick out the right bike rack for your motorhome because not every rack has that motorhome rating. And this one is going to be built extra strong to withstand that extra shock and vibration back here compared to something like a typical passenger vehicle. And the other thing that makes this so unique is the fact that it holds the bike by the tires using this dual wheel mount design. That's going to mean zero frame contact, making this a great option for carbon frame bikes, alternative frame, and even if you had some small fenders, the way and the place that it grabs on the tire, it should work for a lot of those too, which really can't be said about many other e-bike compatible motorhome racks. I do want to say though that it's not a perfect fit. You'll notice that our handlebars do come pretty close to the back of the motorhome, and to be a bit more specific, ours from the center are 12 inches wide. So if you've got anything longer than that, you're probably going to make contact. And even with handlebars of this size, as you're going down the road hitting bumps, you will get some shake and play from the bike here. It's very stable overall, but that front to back movement is just bound to happen when you're driving. So if you are cutting it pretty close like that, I'd personally just put something like a pool noodle over the handlebars and call it good. Because for me, this is enough clearance that I'd be comfortable. But if you do have something like a mountain bike with really wide handlebars, you might find that you don't get the same sort of fit and you'd have to shift that larger bike to the outer cradle. One thing that does work really well is our compartment back there. The rack has a tilting feature that I can use by just pulling this release handle and lowering the rack down. This would typically be for hatch access on a normal passenger vehicle, but for our motorhome today, we've got this compartment. And this allows for that compartment to fully open with the bike loaded. So if we need to get something out of here or load something in, we don't have to sacrifice that function of the motorhome. Now, as I lift this back into place, I do want to point out that these tail lights you see here are not included. It's a separate add-on kit that you can pick up here on our site if you're interested. But I do think it'd be a nice addition just to help with visibility going down the road. The wires will route through the carrier, and since you've got a 7-way connector on the back of your motorhome, you can plug into that, just making sure you pick up an adapter because this will split off into a 4-pole. So getting a 7 to 4-way converter and this add-on kit will give you lights on the back of your bike rack. Now to get the bike unloaded, we're going to start by the back tire because we have this wheel strap as a secondary point of contact, and we want to remove that first. Once that's gone, we'll move on to the wheel hoops, where we've got these silver levers that we can squeeze and push out on the arms. And while I'm doing that, I'm just keeping one hand on the bike so that it doesn't tip and hit the motorhome. And I can open these up really as wide as I want to, but with them fully open like that, it gives plenty of room to lift the bike up and away. The one thing I will say is if you are putting an 80-pound bike up here, it's pretty tall to lift up. And that's just something you're going to face because the hitch height is so high. But with there being no center mast or anything in the way like you'd find on other bike racks, this will, I think, be the easiest for your heavier e-bikes to load. One thing that might set your mind at ease, though, about that loading height is that there is a ramp attachment you can pick up separate. You just have to fold this arm all the way down and it would attach to the end of the tray, allowing you to ramp your bikes up rather than fully lifting them. I'll say though that with the hitch height and that ramp being only so long, you still probably will run into some difficulty, but just being able to support it on that ramp rather than fully lifting it, I think will help. With the bike unloaded, we can also get a few measurements. I'll start off with our ground clearance, which at the back end, the lowest point to the ground is about 25 inches. I think it's going to be more than enough clearance, especially on your motorhome as you're driving around. I think that really just more applies to how high you have to lift it when you're loading. But for the added length to the back, That's going to be sitting around 36 inches. So it does add a fair bit of length, but if you're driving around without bikes loaded up, you can fold it for easier storage. That's just going to be the same handle that we used before. I can push it all the way up, upright like that. The taillights, if you choose to get that attachment, will still function. And the new measurement that we're adding is only about 12 inches now. So you're saving a lot of space by having it folded up. And the thing that's worth mentioning here is while the rack is pretty tall, it does sit underneath our back slide there. You've got a little bit of space, maybe about an inch or two. If that's a little too close for comfort, that's okay. There's a second locking position at this slight angle, which will save you another inch or two and allow that slide to clear even better. And with this being such a bulky bike rack, it's really important to just mention that your license plate will be completely blocked. That's something that you'll find with really any other bike rack too, just because of how close that license plate sits to the hitch. But certain other racks might just obstruct it a little bit less, something to be aware of as you're driving around. And down at that hitch, we can see it's fitting inside of our 2" by 2" receiver tube. And it comes with a locking anti-rattle bolt. The anti-rattle is going to keep things nice and solid in that hitch, and the lock will have a key that's key-to-like to some integrated cables on the top of each tray for your bikes. So your bike rack stays locked to the hitch, and the bikes stay locked to the rack. But as far as the MHS goes, I think it's going to be probably the best bike rack you can get for your e-bikes on your motorhome. Not only does it have one of the heaviest weight capacities you can get, but it also has that wide range of accessories you can add on later, like the light kit or that ramp kit that either make your rack more visible at night or just help with the overall loading process. And just out of the box, it's going to be one of the easier ones to operate because those arms open all the way up. We don't have to fight with a center mast. I just think it's going to be a really good way to go if you're looking for an easy way to transport your e-bikes on the back of your 2017 Winnebago View Motorhome. I'm Aiden, and thanks for watching.
We're going to take it out here on the test course. First thing we're going to do is hit the bumps. We're just going to see what it's like if we did hit some speed bumps. I'm watching the bike, watching how it holds on the tires. It looks like it moves just a little bit, not too much. This is mostly standard with other bike racks, so nothing to worry about. The bike doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Now we're going to go a little bit faster in the parking lot. I'm going to take some aggressive turns and see how it handles there. Looks like it's fine. I see a little movement again, but again, the bike's not going anywhere, so I don't have to worry about it.